finalize its decisions on the nominees within the stipulated timelines. I thank you.
Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Leader Majority.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Monday, February 10th, 2020. 1, legal notice number 176 of 2019, relating to the competition, general rules 2019, and the memorandum from the National Treasury and Planning. 2, legal notice number 196 of 2019, relating to excise duty, in bracket remission of excise duty amendment, regulations 2019, and the memorandum from the National Treasury and Planning. Number 4, legal notice number 217 of 2019, relating to the crops, food crops, regulations 2020, and the memorandum explaining it from the Ministry of Livestock, Agriculture, Fisheries and Cooperative. And number 4, legal notice number 3 of 2020, relating to the Public Service Commission regulations and the memorandum explaining it from the Public Service Commission. And lastly, the draft Civil Aviation Unmanned Aircraft System regulations 2019 from the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority.
Very well. Next.
Order number 6, notices of motion. This one, the special condolence. You need to give.
Yes, Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motions: that the presidential proclamation of the 4th February 2020 regarding the passing on of His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, CGH, second President of the Republic of Kenya, the condolences of this House be recorded in honor of the late retired President's long service in this House, his selfless and exemplary service to the Republic, and for his role in promoting good neighborliness and stability in our region.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
None. Honourable members, now that many of you are here in the chamber, I just wish to draw your attention to a document which I believe has been circulated to all of you regarding the last parliamentary honor to the late second President of the Republic of Kenya at what will happen between 4:45 and until the time when the body finally leaves the precincts of Parliament. I believe every member has a copy of it, so that there's no need for me to read it. Is that agreed? Everybody has seen that guide. What is the point of order, Honorable Junet?
Mr. Speaker, I wanted your clarification on today, the mode of dressing of the Speaker. The last 7 years I've been here, I've not seen this head regalia I'm seeing today. What is the purpose of it, Mr. Speaker? I'm shocked whether it's the same Speaker I knew or somebody is masquerading as a Speaker, Mr. Speaker. Can you tell us, Mr. Speaker, what it means, Mr. Speaker, and explain to the House so that we get used to it?
Well, of course, the Honorable Junet was not present when I made the first communication regarding this special sitting. It is a sitting that demands that the Speaker adorns that kind of regalia. And therefore, because of the issues that are going to happen after 4:45 p.m., and also if the Honorable Junet was around, I'm sure he would have noticed that the procession today into the chamber, the Speaker's procession, was not in the usual way, usual manner. So, Honorable Junet, you are saying the same person, so you can relax. Next.
Order number 8, motion.
Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 27-1 relating to the date of commencement of this House on a new session and pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 28-4, the House may alter its calendar. This House resolves to alter its calendar for the fourth session, regular sittings, in respect of the date of commencement of the first sitting, so that the House holds its first sitting in the fourth session on Thursday, February 13, 2020 at 2:30 p.m. Honorable Speaker, the members who have talked to, there is a reason why we have to be here. I'll not tell you why. It's in your interest. But secondly, and more important, Mr. Speaker, we have a constitutional deadline. The budget policy statement must be presented to the House before or on the 14th of February every year. So that is one of the reasons why we should have a Thursday sitting. The other reason I will tell you when you see me out of the mic, and I think Honorable Pokose is a fast learner, he can now do the necessary. So, Mr. Speaker, the second one is to allow members tomorrow and the day after to participate in the burial session of our former President of the Republic of Kenya, President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, that will take place on Wednesday, the 12th, and it will be a state funeral with full military and civilian ceremonial honors. And in this regard, Mr. Speaker, because of the budget and the budget policy statements, the House has only 7 days from Thursday. So it will be referred to committees. The committees will deal with that matter within 7 days. So we have decided that let's come, the budget policy statement will be referred to committees, and they have 7 days. So from Thursday, committees will begin handling a very critical constitutional matter. So in this regard, this alteration of the calendar will allow members of the House to pay their last respect to our departed patriot on February the 12th, and thereafter the House will commence its sitting on Thursday, 13th, 2020, at 2:30 p.m. for the first sitting. I will ask Honorable Mbui, the Deputy Minority Leader, to second.
Honorable Mbui. No. Put the question. What is the question? Under the member who is honourable members, I propose the question, which is that notwithstanding the provision standing under number 27(1) relating to the date of commencement of the House on a new session and pursuant honourable members, and I hope that the long recess has not affected you negatively as to forget that when the Speaker is on his chair, on his seat, on his feet, there cannot be questions or points of order. So, honourable members, I propose the question that notwithstanding the provision standing order 27(1) relating to the date of commencement of the House on a new session, and pursuant to the provisions standing under 28 subsection 4, this House resolves to alter its calendar for the fourth session, regular sittings, in respect of the date of commencement of the first sitting, so that the House holds its first sitting of the fourth session on Thursday, February 13th, 2020 at 2:30 p.m. Such the terms. Can you assist the Honorable Mwadime? Can you assist the Honorable Mwadime to get and the member who is permanently on our feet? Do you want to make your way in, or you want to? Honourable members, I therefore put the question. Which is that notwithstanding the provision standing under 27, subsection 1, relating to the date of commencement of the House on a new session, and pursuant to the provision standing under number 28, subsection 4, this House resolves to alter its calendar for the fourth session in respect of the date of commencement of the first sitting, so that this House holds its first sitting of the fourth session on Thursday, February 13th, 2020 at 2:30 p.m. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next.
Order number 9, motion, special condolences of the House.
Leader majority.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that following the presidential proclamation of the 4th of February 2020 regarding the passing of His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, CGH, second President of the Republic of Kenya, the condolences of this House be recorded in honor of the late retired President's long service in this House, his selfless and exemplary service to the Republic, and for his role in promoting good neighborliness and stability in the region. Mr. Speaker, I rise to give my heartfelt condolences to the family, friends, and indeed the nation in general following the passage on one of our former President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. He was a self-made politician who rose from the humble beginning to become the longest-serving President of Kenya. Speaker, Honorable former President will be remembered for many things. Many things, from education, where he decentralized education from primary to secondary, and making sure that higher education was decentralized, and that led to the emergency of many universities, including Moi University and Egerton University. He will be remembered, Mr. Speaker, for consolidating peace and stability and tranquility within the Horn of Africa and largely the East African region at a very difficult time for the region and the African continent. He will be remembered together with President Museveni and President Mkapa of Tanzania and Uganda for steering the process of reviving the East Africa community. The Speaker, Mzee Moi's steady hand also will be remembered through the restoration of the multi-party politics by repealing Section 2A of the Constitution in 1991, which again, Mr. Speaker, culminated in a transfer of power in December 2002, a very rare occurrence in Africa, and which set the example that has been emulated across the continent beyond ever since. So, Speaker, finally, Mzee Moi, as he rests, we will remember him for his famous quote, "Siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya." And may we as leaders always heed to these wise words and not put our self-interest before that of our great country with the siasa mbaya. Let us be inspired by this unbounded dedication to the welfare of the country and her people. Mr. Speaker, President Moi was a legend, a veteran. He truly touched the hearts of many people in this country. And in the words of Ronald Reagan, the American president and politician who served as the 40th president of the United States, said, "Some people live an entire lifetime and wonder if they have made a significance in the world. A veteran does not have that problem." And Mzee Moi fits in that. Mr. Speaker, may Mzee Moi rest in peace, and I am sure the government led by President Uhuru Kenyatta, as a commander-in-chief, and the people of Kenya will give President retired Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi a befitting state send-off. And I ask all our colleagues here, because he was a member of parliament, he served for 47 years, and we pray that there will be members who will serve for 47 years sitting in this house. There are some who have already served 20 plus, including my deputy. I wish there are many, many Mois in this house. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I will ask the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly to second this motion.
Deputy Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, pursuing the line already created by the majority leader, I wish also to pass my condolence and that of my constituency and family to Kenya, really to Kenya, not even to the family of Moi himself, because all of us as Kenyans are a family to His Excellency Moi. What has happened, Mr. Speaker, and I want to congratulate you and your team, that you are able to very quickly convene this particular session in respect of our late president. And it is a good thing now that we are going to have a day today to put our condolences, and then again you give us an opportunity to attend the burial ceremony both tomorrow and on Wednesday. Mr. Speaker, I want to say as a person, I benefited immensely from His Excellency President Daniel Arap Moi. I went to schools that he built, Kabarnet High School, which he was a chairman then, and Moi High School, Kabarak, which I know many of my colleagues here could not find space there. It was a competitive school. Because he was a good educationalist. So, Mr. Speaker, many of the members of parliament who are here also learned quite a lot from the late president, starting with people like my immediate neighbor here, Honorable Shaban, whom we came to Bunge together in the party that he was chair. We learned immensely. And the only thing I remember mostly, Mr. Speaker, of course, other than the fact that he did quite a lot of things for Kenyans, education, the religious and moral values, stability in the region, peace, and many things. But personally, Mr. Speaker, I benefited especially because in the year 1990, just at the time when the multi-party was being introduced in Kenya, I was a student leader in Nakuru as a Secretary General of Nakuru University Students. He gave me an opportunity to fly an aeroplane for the first time in my life. Myself and a gentleman from Nakuru who was our chairman to other members. Sorry, I realize I'm not in your... But I flew I accompanied the former president to Rwanda as a student. I know the only other person in this house who did that at that time is Honorable Lekenta, And he actually made a longer trip because he went to Vancouver, Canada, because he was the KLSS chairman, that is the Kenya Law Society student.
We don't, and if we don't, the consequences can be dire. I think this year, whatever happens, we must agree to talk to each other. And I think this example that President Moi showed and demonstrated in talking to those who are on the other side of the political divide, I think we should be ready to talk to each other in order to make sure that the gains of the 2010 Constitution, those gains are not lost, because they can easily be lost if we do not agree to talk to each other. Now, there are things that happened during President Moi's time that probably will not have very kind words to say. The detentions without trial, extrajudicial killings, the one-party system became a de jure one-party system. I think all this, that experience should not be brushed aside. It should be used to ensure that Kenya doesn't get back to where we were in those dark days.
Asked to escort the casket bearing the late president's body out of Parliament. So the House is sorry, honourable members. So we are going to adjourn at 4:45. Can I get a proposer? Can I get a proposer? The Honorable Jared Okello, what do you propose?
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. As you have said, to immortalize Moi the best way they can. And therefore, I propose 1 minute, Mr. Speaker, so that everybody would have an opportunity to speak about him. And if you allow me, let me start.
Honorable Ketel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second 1 minute.
So honourable members, there has been that proposal that contributions be limited. Do I get the concurrence of the House? Yes. By way of those in support of that, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. So, honourable members, I appreciate that 1 minute is a very short time, but please organize what you want to say. So you must organize your thought processes before you get a chance. So, members, that is the only way. So that, because I know there are so many of you, actually I don't see it, everybody wants to say something, and the time is limited. Therefore, let us bear with the situation as it is, please. So make sure that you organize properly. I can see the Honorable Momanyi is beginning to organize himself now. But as you continue to organize yourself, let me look at the screen. Let me look at the screen. Honourable members, I am going to follow this screen because we are eulogizing the late president of the Republic. So please, don't say that there's no honor which is captured in in Article 108 of the Constitution. So it is going to be as you have made your requests. There are already 157 requests. So please, when I give you And I will just follow. Let me just follow the way you have placed your request. The first person on the screen is the member for Ainab Koi.
Mr. Speaker, sir, may I take this opportunity to convey my heartfelt sorrow to His Excellency, the second President of the Republic of Kenya, that the cruel hand of death has robbed a general, but he has left behind many generals who will follow his footsteps. That is Nyayo. President Moi was indeed a champion of peace, love, and unity. He was indeed a defender of national unity and government of all inclusivity. To wind up your
Honour members, please. Remember, you have said you want to do 1 minute. In a very special way, I'll give this chance to the member for Baringo Central. Can you give him? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It is a sad moment for our country because of the passing on of an elder, an African statesman, an icon, a mentor to many, and a father, the former head of state, retired President Daniel Taratit Arap Moi. The people of Baringo Central and myself appreciate the contribution that Moi did. He was a very passionate and committed to the development of this country, and Baringo Central constituency was not an exception. Mr. Moi was the MP for Baringo Central for over 39 years. And just to mention a few achievements, he did a lot of work on the road from Nakuru to Kabarnet and others. He did a lot of work on education and many others. We shall remember him for steering.
The member for Baringo Central, I'll give you 1 more minute. You obviously members, you appreciate.
Okay, we shall remember him for steering this country to prosperity through his motto of peace, love, and unity. On behalf of my family and the residents of Baringo Central, I offer my deep condolences to Moi's family and the entire nation. We pray that God Almighty grant the immediate family and Kenyans comfort, solace, and peace at these very trying moments. May his soul rest in eternal peace. We love you, Baba Moi, but God loves you most. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Vihiga. Adagala.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I wish also to stand here on behalf of Vihiga people to also condole with the family of His Excellency Daniel Arap Moi. Moi was a religious man. Moi had space for women. Moi appointed several ladies, like the first civil servant, then Lady Justice. Moi wanted a civil service that is with the decorum. We have lost a great man, and especially with the people of Vihiga County, because it's through Vihiga County that through the late Moses Mudavadi that Moi came to Parliament to represent the people of Central Baringo. So we have taken this as the people of Vihiga County to be a big blow.
Member for Taita Taveta.
Asante Mr. Speaker. Kwa niaba yangu na watu wa Taita Taveta tunatoa pole zetu kwa familia ya aliyekuwa rais wetu wa pili, Rais Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, na tunataka kumshukuru kwa kuweza kuongoza kwa amani, upendo na umoja. Tunamshukuru pia kwa mashule mengi ambayo alijenga hapa Kenya nzima, na tunafurahia sana kwa kuwa alisimama na elimu, haswa elimu ya watoto wa kike. Tunatoa pole zetu kutoka Taita Taveta kwa familia na Kenya yote mzima. Asante Mr. Speaker.
Member for Karachuonyo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me the opportunity. Let me pass my condolence and the condolence of Karachuonyo people as a constituency that I represent, and also the condolence of my family. Let me send this to the family of His Excellency, the former President of this Republic, His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. I wish to say that we admire this leadership, and I would say that I would urge his two sons who are in Parliament to follow his nyayo and also to be on the right side of history, so that they actually support BBI in order that Kenya can move forward as a country and as one unit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Member for Kieni.
Asanti Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipatia nafasi hii ili niomboleze na familia ya mwenda zake rais wa pili Mzee Toroitich Arap Moi. Mheshimiwa Spika, mambo mawili ambao tumesoma kutokana na hayati mzee. Alikuwa na filosofia ya amani, upendo na umoja ambao tunapaswa kama Wakenya kuiga. Ya pili, Mheshimiwa Spika, Mzee Moi alituambia kila wakati kwamba siasa mbaya, maisha mabaya. Kwa hivyo sisi kama wanasiasa, sisi kama viongozi ni vizuri tuyaige yale mambo mazuri ambayo tulionyeshwa. Mheshimiwa Spika, ya mwisho ni kwamba tulikuwa na nyimbo nyingi za kizalendo na tunazikumbuka, tunazienzi hapa. Mheshimiwa Spika, kabla hujaingia, nyimbo hizo zilikuwa zinaibwa hapa na wabunge hapa, ambayo ilikuwa inatuleta kama Wakenya. Tunapaswa kuziiga hizo nyimbo ili tulete Kenya pamoja. Kwa hayo mengi machache, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa niaba yangu ya familia na watu wa
Member for Kiminini.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of my family, Kimini constituency and Trans Nzoia County at large, we send a message of condolence to Moi family. Mr. Speaker, I'm a beneficiary of President Moi bursary. I salute him for that. Mr. Speaker, I salute President Moi. He handed over power peacefully after 24 years. Despite the insult he was given, Mr. Speaker, he handed over power. We'll continue remembering President Moi. Mr. Speaker, this is a man who was a God-fearing president, and we call upon the incoming presidents to be God-fearing. Thank you, and we salute you. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Honorable Shamala.
I rise to pay tribute to His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. Great men are always surrounded by great controversy. Yet we must never forget that Mzee Moi united our country Kenya when many African countries were steeped in coups d'etats and rebellion. He would transit this country through multi-party democracy, securing his place in Kenya in history of leaving a united, peaceful Kenya. He relegated power under the most difficult of circumstances at Uhuru Park. Needless to say, in less than 4 years, this country would be plunged in civil war. Mzee was a devoted Christian, a patriot, a dignified human being. I know, I am certain that it is well with his soul. He has rested in eternal peace.
Member for Kibwezi West.
Thank you, Speaker. On behalf of the people of Kibwezi West, Makueni County at large, we give our heartfelt condolences on the demise of His Excellency President Moi, and to a larger extent to the scouting movement for losing indeed a great patron who has nurtured a big generation to keep in our motto, be prepared. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for South Imenti.
Asante sana Bwana Spika. Kwa niaba ya wakazi wa constituency ya Imenti Kusini, familia yangu na mimi mwenyewe Bwana Spika, nachukua fursa hii kuomboleza kuachwa na Baba Moi, na Bwana Spika, kusema mambo mengi Rais Moi alitengeneza ama alifanya hapa nchini Kenya ni mambo mengi sana. Elimu, hasa kusimamia demokrasia kwa kukubali kuondoa kwa kifungu cha 2A katika katiba yetu Bwana Spika, pamoja na vile alipeana uongozi na Wakenya wengi walifikiria hata achilia uongozi sababu amefanya akiwa rais kwa miaka 24 na naibu wa rais miaka 8. Kwa hivyo sisi tukiwa viongozi wale wamekuja hii nchini tunaiga mfano wake Bwana Spika, na tunaombea familia yake na Wakenya wote wakati mwema tunapomuraza Rais Moi wiki hii. Asante sana.
Member for West Mugirango.
Honorable Speaker, may I take this opportunity on behalf of the people of West Mugirango to extend my condolences to the family of the late Honorable retired President Moi. Moi, Honorable Speaker, quite did a lot when he was the President of this Republic of Kenya. He ensured that there was stability in the region and more particularly in Kenya. There was provision of milk, and in nature, Honorable Speaker, the retired President Moi was humorous. He ensured that there was a peaceful handover in the year 2002. May the Lord rest his soul in eternal peace. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Mwea.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On my behalf and the people of Mwea, my family, I extend my condolences to the family and indeed to the nation of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, we, the people of Mwea, remember the late president for many things, but I want to single out in 1992 when he gave titles to the Mwea irrigation scheme, about 20 titles, Mr. Speaker. That exercise was not complete, and I hope that this present government will complete that exercise by giving those titles, Mr. Speaker. As a nation, this is the time to reflect on matters peace, on matters love for one another, on matters love for our nation. It's a time for us to reflect how we can build this nation and more so ensuring that we make use of that which we have. Mr. Speaker, may the Lord rest his soul in peace.
Member for Suna East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on my behalf and on behalf of my constituency, Suna East, and on behalf of Gori County, I would like to convey my message of condolences to the family of President Daniel Arap Moi. Mr. Speaker, Daniel Arap Moi was a visionary leader, Mr. Speaker, who steered this country in a peaceful manner in 24 years, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, he was a very tolerant leader, Mr. Speaker, and you remember at that time when he was leading, the country was so much engulfed in politics of opposition and government, and he tolerated all groups of people, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I wish to send my condolences to his family and say Paul to them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. He was tolerant.
For Baringo North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on my own behalf, that of my family and the great people of Baringo North and Baringo County, Mr. Speaker, I wish to convey my condolences to the family of the late president. Mr. Speaker, President Moi can be remembered for being a leader that was able to unite the country. Mr. Speaker, as we move forward as a country, I think we have a lot to borrow from the leadership of Mr. Moi in terms of uniting our nation and ensuring, Mr. Speaker, that inclusivity is achieved. The BBI we are discussing currently, Mr. Speaker, talks about inclusivity. But I think Mr. Moi, Mr. Speaker, was able to practice inclusivity in his leadership, ensuring that every person, every community in Kenya is in leadership. Mr. Speaker, I just want to say that the issue of education, issues of peace, issues of uniting Kenya is paramount for most leadership. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that this country...
Member for Ugunja.
Mr. Speaker, as we condole with the family of retired President Daniel Arap Moi, it's important to note that even though some of us did not entirely agree with this style of governance, we must appreciate the enormous contribution he made to the overall growth of the country. Mr. Speaker, perhaps his style of governance was informed by the circumstances that prevailed then. Mr. Speaker, I do pray that his passing on may herald a new spirit of national unity and less squabbling by politicians, particularly those in Jubilee. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
The honor members, just to guide you, since you already agreed that it's 1 minute, when you see the yellow light, you know you have 30 seconds balance. When you see the red, you have 15 seconds remaining. So just so that you can organize yourselves, it's good you know in advance. Member for Igembe South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me offer my heartfelt condolence and of the people of Igembe South constituency to the family of the late Mzee Daniel Torotich Arap Moi. Mr. Speaker, late President was a very humble man, Mr. Speaker, and a man who loved children, Mr. Speaker, and a man who loved peace, love, and unity, Mr. Speaker. And in this country, we are supposed to embrace love, peace, and unity so that we can lead well, Mr. Speaker. With that, Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Member for Kitui Central.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On my own behalf, on behalf of my family, on behalf of the Kitui Central people, and on behalf of Kitui County, allow me, Honorable Speaker, to sincerely convey our condolences to the family of Mr. Moi. Honorable Speaker, a few things can be singled out in relation to his life. He preached unity, he practiced it. He preached the gospel of forgiveness, he practiced it. As a region, we benefited a lot from his oil conservation efforts. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Amen.
Member for North Hall.
Mr. Speaker, I want to join my colleagues in giving my deepest condolences to the family of our late president. Mr. Speaker, sir, on my own behalf and the people of Northern constituency and Mombasa County at large, we really want to give our very deep condolences to the family of our late president. He cherished peace. He was a statesman. He was a Pan-Africanist. He was a freedom fighter. He was a true Democrat. Mr. Speaker, sir, he unified this country. He did all parts of Kenya so that we feel we are part of this country. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Member for Teso South.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of my family, behalf of people of Teso South, I wish to sincerely pass my condolences to the family of the second president of Kenya, the late Daniel Torotich Arap Moi. Honorable Speaker, I remember the late president for one thing. He had a very big heart for education, and I wish to ask the entire nation to stand with him and his family in prayers during this difficult moment. Thank you, Speaker.
Member for Nyaribari Masaba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On my own behalf and behalf of the people of Nyaribari Masaba, I want to take this opportunity to convey my very sincere and heartfelt condolences to the family of Mr. Moi. Mr. Moi was a very diligent worker, a patriot, and a true servant of the people. Those of us who had an opportunity of working under him, particularly district commissioners, because I was one, indeed is a man who traversed every part of the country, and we have lessons to learn. That let us embrace Nyayoism, the spirit of love, peace, and unity. Let us also embrace forgiveness, because Moi was a true Christian, and he embraced forgiveness, which as Kenyans, as Christians, we also do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Mwingi West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity given to me. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me join this, take this opportunity on behalf of my family, my people of Mwingi West, to pass a message of condolences to the family of the late retired President Moi. Mr. Speaker, sir, the President will be actually remembered for his Nyayo's philosophy of peace, love, and unity. Mr. Speaker, we will recall again that his career rising from a very simple teacher to a president is not a joke. And Mr. Speaker, that is why I am saying Mr. Moi was an extraordinary person. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, let me say, rest in peace, President Daniel Arap Moi. Thank you.
Member for Mogotio.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise to say on behalf of myself and my family and on behalf of the people of Mogotio, I'd like to send my condolences to the family of Moi and also the Kenyans at large. Personally, I remember the president for many things, but specifically education, especially on the issues of political stability. He had his philosophy of peace, love, and unity. He also talked a lot about siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya, and also many things about songs and everything else. And personally, I worked with him closely in establishing Kabarak University, and I'd like to thank him for the full support. And on that, I thank you.
Member for Tigania West.
Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to pass my condolences to the family of President Moi. Honourable Speaker, President Moi was a true nationalist, a true gentleman who remembered to forgive everyone who has ever erred him, and he also sought for forgiveness. Honourable Speaker, President Moi never spoke politics in church, even though he went to church every day, every Sunday. He defended his party against all odds, and he left a very strong party called KANU. Honourable Speaker, that is one man who spoke peace, love, and unity throughout the country, and he supported the cause for peace and the cause for love and unity. He promoted the girl child, and we shall remember him for that. Honourable Speaker, President Moi will be remembered for many things that he did, and he touched the lives of many people as a person who spearheaded the Harambee movement and left Kenya quite well developed. I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Member for Turkana County.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the great people of Turkana and my family, we wish to convey our heartfelt condolences to the Moi family. Honorable Speaker, I rise to pay tribute to a great man, a man who had been given a special name by the Turkana people, the name Loboyel, meaning it was depicting so many positive items, including fullness of strength, exuberance, generosity, and so many things. Honorable Speaker, I remember in Moi's time, people fought for KANU just to be a delegate. Being a delegate was a job and was being paid, and that was very special. And he was a very accessible man, accessible president, so many people of different...
Member for Rarienda. Sorry,
Mr. Speaker, for present purposes and posterity, may the condolences of the people of Rarienda, my family and I be recorded. No mortal is infallible, and the late President Moi is no exception. But may it be noted, as captured in the media, that he sought forgiveness of those he had wronged and sought to forgive those who had wronged him. May his soul know eternal peace.
For Turkana South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the reason why you have had many parliamentary clapping is because you made a history by facilitating healing of my ailment in India. Mr. Speaker, I remember one thing in President Moi's life. I was a beneficiary of UHT milk, which almost all of us almost all of us drink that milk. Maziwa Nyayo. And we are not seeing nowadays, so.
Honorable Omenen, welcome back, and we wish you the very best. And as you can hear, everybody wishes you very well. We'll give you 1 more minute.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the people of Turkana South constituents and also entire county, we send a message of condolences to the former President Moi. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of myself, my family, and the great people of Isiolo North, I would like to convey heartfelt condolences to family of late our second president, His Excellency late President Moi, and Kenyans at large. Mr. Speaker, I would like just to mention one thing. The late president made the minorities, including the community I come from, feel to be part of Kenya, and we really appreciate him for that. Actually, when we were young, when we were growing up, we used to look at the map of the members of cabinet, and we used to be very proud. I'm also a beneficiary of the expanded opportunities in education, both at primary level, secondary level, and also education level. I say, rest in peace, Baba Moi.
Member for Narok South.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on my own behalf, on behalf of my family, and on behalf of the people of Narok South, I'd like to convey my heartfelt condolences to the family of the late president. Mr. Speaker, one thing I remember of the late president is, just as my friend has said, he took care of the minority communities in this country. Every single time he goes around, Mr. Speaker, he speaks about peace, love, and unity. Honorable Speaker, may his soul rest in peace.
Member for Igembe Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity on my behalf and my family and the people of Igembe Central to convey my heartfelt condolences to the family and the Kenyans at large through the demise of our second president, Mr. Daniel Arap Moi. And he put it across, like my colleagues have said, he was quite a statesman and a man who really had people's interests at heart and also those of our nation. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Member for Bomachoge Chache.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for this chance. I stand on behalf of myself, my family, and the people of Machoge Chache to condole with the family for the big loss and fallen hero, Mr. Daniel Arap Moi. I want to remember Mzee for 3 things. One, he used to attend church almost every Sunday. Despite these side effects and positive side, he loved God. The second one, he handed over power in a very smooth way. The last one, Maziwa Nyayo. And I recommend the current government for morning, let it give 1 full week for primary and secondary schools, Maziwa Nyayo. Let him rest in peace. Thank you.
Member for Suba North.
Oops. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I note the passing of President Moi, and on my own behalf, on behalf of my family and the people of Suba North, I bring my condolences to the family and especially the sons Gideon Moi and Raymond, who are our colleagues. Mr. Speaker, Moi lives a checkered history with both good and bad, as is common to man. Mr. Speaker, his passing on is an epoch in Kenyan history. May we learn from it. He sought forgiveness. Mr. Speaker, as a Christian, if he has wronged me, I forgive him. The Bible says, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. I am a sinner, you are a sinner, he was a sinner. May we have it in our heart to forgive him. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Sigor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On my own behalf of my family, the great people of Sigor constituency in West Pokot County, I want to convey my heartfelt condolences to the family of retired President Moi. And I want to say that the retired president was credited for peace, unity within and outside this country, and he was a great patriot. We also remember him for the provision of milk, school milk, that lured so many children, especially in marginalized areas, to go to school. May God Almighty rest his soul in eternal peace. Thank you.
Member for Trans Nzoia County.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa nafasi hii. Nataka kuchukua nafasi hii pia kutuma rambirambi zangu pamoja na familia yangu na familia ya Trans Nzoia County kwa mzee mwenda zake aliyekuwa rais wa nchi ya Kenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka kumkumbuka rais mstaafu kwa mambo mawili. Kwanza nilimuona ama nilimjua kama niko kwa shule ya upili kule Kamsinga, na akakuja akabadilisha hiyo shule ikaitwa Moi Girls Kamsinga. Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka kumkumbuka tena ni kwa sababu alikuwa ni mcha Mungu. Wakati ameshikilia kiti tulikuwa na pombe nyingi sana katika nchi ya Kenya, na akamaliza mambo ya pombe, akafunga vilabu, akabadilisha watoto wetu wakapata elimu ya kutosha. Ninamkumbuka kwa sababu alifanya wamama wakaenda Beijing, yenye hatukutarajia kwamba wamama pia tutaona mwanga kule nje. Mheshimiwa Spika, namtakia laswe mahali pema patakatifu. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Member wa Matungulu.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of myself and the people of Matungulu and the entire Kamba Nation, we want to pass condolence to the family of Mzee Moi. May God rest his soul in eternal peace. Thank you.
Member for